What if I told you there's a community in America that's been quietly prepping for the end of the world, since before the United States even existed? Long before preppers had bug-out bags and Mylar pouches, the Amish were already living the off-grid dream. No electricity, no freezers, no fancy dehydrators, yet their pantries. Fully stocked, year-round with food that lasts for years and actually tastes incredible. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you care about real food, saving money, and building a pantry that could outlast a power grid collapse, you're going to love this. The Amish have perfected the art of food preservation for centuries. They grow it, harvest it, preserve it, and store it all by hand. No modern shortcuts, just old-fashioned skill and patience. Today, we're diving into 20 Amish foods you'll regret not having in your prepper pantry staples that combine long shelf life, deep flavor, and unbeatable practicality. Whether you're a hardcore prepper or just tired of overpriced processed junk, these timeless foods prove that survival doesn't have to taste boring. Let's get started. 1. The forgotten relish, Amish Chow Chow. If you've never heard of Chow Chow, prepare for your pantry world to be turned upside down. This colorful, tangy relish is one of the Amish community's most underrated treasures, and it deserves a front row seat in any prepper pantry. Made from finely chopped cabbage, onions, green tomatoes, peppers, and sometimes even cauliflower, all steeped in a perfectly balanced sweet and sour brine, Chow Chow is like the bold, rustic cousin of kimchi, minus the heat, but full of character. What makes it a prepper's dream? Shelf life and versatility. Properly sealed in glass jars, Amish Chow Chow can last several years without refrigeration. When the power's out or your fridge is useless, you'll still have a bright, crunchy condiment that brings life to any meal. Stir it into beans, pile it on a baked potato, or spoon it over a slice of cornbread. It instantly transforms dull survival food into something downright crave-worthy. And here's the best part, it's more than just flavor. Traditional Amish Chow Chow is naturally fermented, which means it's packed with probiotics that keep your gut healthy when fresh produce isn't available. It's affordable, easy to make, and requires nothing more than garden leftovers and a little vinegar magic. Every bite is a taste of old-fashioned preservation wisdom that's been keeping families fed for centuries. So next time you're thinking about what to stock for long-term survival, skip the flavorless canned mush and grab a jar of Chow Chow. It's not just food, it's comfort, nutrition, and heritage in one bite. 2. The sweet survival spread, old-fashioned apple butter. Apple butter might sound like something your grandmother kept in the cupboard, but the Amish have turned it into a masterpiece of preservation. Despite its name, there's no butter in it at all. Just slow-cooked apples, cinnamon, and a hint of clove, simmered for hours until it turns into a deep, caramel-colored spread that tastes like fall in a jar. The Amish traditionally make it in giant copper kettles over open fires, letting it cook all day until the water evaporates and the sugars concentrate. The result? A thick, velvety spread that can last well over a year, sometimes longer, without refrigeration. Because it's cooked down so much, it has a low moisture content and resists spoilage naturally. What makes apple butter a prepper essential isn't just its longevity, it's how many uses it has. Spread it on bread, stir it into oatmeal, or use it as a natural sweetener in baked goods when sugar is scarce. It even doubles as a glaze for meats like pork or chicken, giving them a rich, tangy, sweet flavor that feels like a luxury during hard times. And unlike store-bought jams loaded with artificial preservatives and corn syrup, Amish apple butter is pure, clean, and made with real fruit. One jar can brighten a dozen meals, and it reminds you that survival food doesn't have to taste like compromise. It's comfort food that stores as well as it satisfies, something every modern prepper should learn from the Amish playbook. 3. The grain that never dies, soft white wheat berries. If there's one ingredient that defines food independence, it's wheat berries, and the Amish have relied on them for generations. These tiny golden kernels are the pure, unprocessed form of wheat, the same way nature intended it. Unlike modern flour that spoils within months, wheat berries can last for decades when sealed properly in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers. That's not an exaggeration, decades. Soft white wheat berries are especially prized because they're mild in flavor and perfect for baking tender breads, pancakes, biscuits, and muffins. All you need is a simple hand-cranked mill, no electricity required, and you've got fresh flour anytime you want. The Amish use this exact method daily, turning their wheat into baked goods that taste fresh, hearty, and far better than anything boxed in a supermarket. From a prepper's standpoint, it's the ultimate insurance policy. When supply chains break and store shelves go bare, your wheat berries become your personal bread factory. Plus, they're incredibly nutritious, rich in protein, fiber, and minerals that keep energy levels stable. You can even cook them whole like rice or toss them into soups for texture and calories. A 25-pound bag costs less than one emergency food bucket and can feed a family for weeks. It's practical, healthy, and timeless. The Amish don't store wheat because it's trendy. They do it because it works, and it's kept them fed for centuries. 4. The forgotten fat, rendered Amish lard. In today's health-obsessed world, lard gets an unfair bad rap, but the Amish know better. Properly rendered lard from pasture-raised pigs is one of the cleanest, most stable fats you can store, and it's been a pantry essential for centuries. Forget the processed, hydrogenated version you see at supermarkets. Real lard is pure, shelf-stable gold. Here's why it's a prepper essential. It lasts. When stored in sealed jars in a cool pantry, real lard can stay fresh for more than a year without refrigeration. It's calorie-dense, nutrient-rich, and versatile enough to use in almost every meal. The Amish fry eggs in it, bake biscuits with it, and swear by it for the flakiest pie crusts imaginable. Nutritionally, lard is no villain. It's full of monounsaturated fats, the same heart-healthy ones found in olive oil, and even vitamin D if it comes from outdoor-raised pigs. For off-grid living, it's one of the few fats that won't spoil quickly, making it an essential energy source when fresh butter or oil isn't an option. It's also dirt cheap if you render it yourself, a simple process that involves slowly melting pork fat until you're left with pure, clean cooking lard. It's the kind of old-world skill that separates the truly prepared from the rest. In short, lard isn't just food. It's survival fuel, cooking grease, and baking magic all in one jar. The Amish knew it then. Smart preppers know it now. 5. The pickled power snack, dilly green beans. Forget limp canned beans from the store. Amish dilly green beans are the crisp, tangy upgrade your pantry deserves. These are fresh green beans pickled in a mix of vinegar, salt, garlic, and dill, sealed in jars that stay good for up to 5 years without refrigeration. The result? A crunchy, garlicky, flavor-packed side dish that's both refreshing and shelf-stable. The Amish make these during summer harvests, capturing that garden-fresh taste for the long winter months ahead. When you pop open a jar in January and hear that satisfying pop, you're tasting pure preservation success. Each bite is bright, acidic, and just the right amount of salty, perfect for balancing out heavy pantry staples like rice, beans, or canned meats. Dilly beans aren't just delicious, they're practical. The vinegar brine naturally prevents spoilage while promoting gut health, thanks to its probiotic content. They're low-cost, easy to make, and surprisingly addictive. You'll find yourself snacking straight from the jar before you even get them to the plate. In a world where most survival food tastes like cardboard, Amish dilly green beans are proof that prepping doesn't mean sacrificing flavor. They're the crunchy reminder that self-sufficiency can be delicious too. When everything else in your pantry feels bland, these beans wake up your taste buds and your spirit. 6. The Crimson Tonic, Amish Beet Kvass. If there's one pantry item that proves simplicity can be powerful, it's beet kvass. This deep red fermented drink might look like something out of a medieval apothecary, but for the Amish, it's a daily tonic that nourishes from the inside out. Made by soaking chopped beets in water with salt and sometimes a touch of whey or sourdough, starter it ferments naturally over a few days into a tangy, slightly earthy drink packed with probiotics and electrolytes. The result? A natural energy booster, digestive aid, and immune supporter, all without refrigeration or fancy equipment. The Amish have been sipping this tonic for generations to keep their digestion strong and their bodies balanced, especially through long winters when fresh produce is scarce. Beet kvass isn't just a beverage, it's functional nutrition in its purest form. Stored in a cool, dark space, beet kvass lasts for months. You only need a few ounces a day to reap its benefits. It's naturally hydrating, helps cleanse the liver, and even adds color and flavor to soups or dressings. Think of it as nature's electrolyte drink. No sugar, no chemicals, just real food doing real work. For preppers, it's the perfect way to turn humble root vegetables into something long-lasting and restorative. When everyone else is running out of juice and vitamins, you'll still have a probiotic-rich drink made with nothing more than beets, salt, and thyme. It's proof that survival food doesn't have to be bland or lifeless. It can be vibrant, healthful, and surprisingly refreshing. 7. The Golden Jar. Walnuts preserved in honey. It might sound too simple to be impressive, but the Amish know a secret most modern preppers overlook. Store your nuts in honey, and they'll last for years. Walnuts alone can go rancid quickly, but when submerged in honey, they become a powerhouse of preserved nutrition and flavor. Honey acts as a natural preservative, locking out air and moisture while sealing in the nuts' rich, earthy oils. The result? A golden jar of energy-dense, brain-boosting fuel that's perfect for emergencies, or just for adding comfort to long days. The Amish keep these jars ready in their pantries for a quick snack or natural pick-me-up. One spoonful delivers protein, healthy fats, antioxidants, and natural sugars, all in perfect balance. Stir it into oatmeal, spread it on biscuits, or eat it straight from the spoon for an instant morale boost. The honey not only preserves the walnuts, but also enhances their flavor over time, giving the nuts a mellow sweetness that feels like pure luxury when resources are limited. Best of all, both ingredients, honey and walnuts, are shelf-stable on their own. Together, they create one of the most durable and satisfying survival foods you can store. In a world obsessed with complicated protein powders and processed snacks, this old-fashioned combo stands as a reminder that sometimes the best preservation system is the one nature designed. It's delicious, nutrient-dense, and timeless, exactly what every prepper pantry should be. 8. The Pioneer's Grain. Stone-ground cornmeal. Before freeze-dried meals and instant rice, there was cornmeal, and the Amish still swear by it. But not just any cornmeal. They use stone-ground cornmeal, milled the old-fashioned way between granite wheels that keep the germ and bran intact. That's where the real flavor and nutrition live. The result is a rich, golden meal with a full-bodied taste that no supermarket brand can match. It's the foundation of hearty Amish comfort foods: cornbread, mush, Johnny cakes, hoe cakes, and even thickened soups. Every scoop of cornmeal represents a meal that's filling, affordable, and easy to prepare with nothing more than water, salt, and a bit of fat. Stone-ground cornmeal is surprisingly shelf-stable too, lasting up to 5 years when kept dry and airtight. And because it's calorie-dense, lightweight, and gluten-free, it's a perfect prepper grain for both storage and nutrition. You can make a hot breakfast, bake a loaf of cornbread, or fry it into crispy cakes, all without electricity. The Amish rely on cornmeal because it delivers real energy, sticks to your ribs, and costs next to nothing. It's simple food done right. No additives, no shortcuts, just grain milled the way our ancestors intended. For anyone building a pantry that can sustain and satisfy, stone-ground cornmeal is non-negotiable. It's proof that survival food doesn't need a label. It just needs history and a little heat. 9. The real meat solution. Amish canned venison and beef. While most people rely on freezers for meat storage, the Amish rely on skill and a pressure canner. Every fall, after hunting season or livestock butchering, Amish families preserve their meat by canning it in glass jars. Venison, beef, chicken, it all gets cooked, sealed, and stored for years. No freezer. No electricity. No problem. What you end up with is tender, fully cooked meat that's ready to eat straight from the jar. Add it to soups, stews, or casseroles, or heat it with gravy for an instant meal. Unlike store-bought canned meat that's drowning in salt and preservatives, Amish canned meat is pure, just meat, salt, and thyme. And because it's pressure canned, it's completely safe and shelf-stable for up to 5 years. This isn't some emergency ration, it's real food. High in protein, high in calories, and deeply satisfying. During hard winters or grid-down situations, one jar of canned venison can feed a family a nourishing meal without lighting a single fire. The flavor is clean, rich, and comforting. The kind of food that reminds you life can still taste good when the world gets rough. For preppers serious about self-sufficiency, learning this Amish method is a game changer. It transforms perishable protein into long-lasting security. And it's a skill that's vanishing fast in modern times, but worth rediscovering before you need it most. 10. The Sweet Survival Syrup, Amish Sorghum. Before white sugar and corn syrup took over, the Amish had their own natural sweetener, sorghum syrup. Made by pressing juice from sorghum cane and slowly boiling it down, sorghum syrup is thick, golden brown, and rich with notes of caramel and molasses, but smoother and less bitter. It's the taste of old America in a jar. What makes sorghum special is how well it keeps. Stored properly, it can last indefinitely without crystallizing or spoiling. That's why the Amish love it. It's the kind of sweetener that stays good forever. They drizzle it on biscuits, stir it into coffee, use it in baking, and even glaze hams and roasted vegetables with it. It's pure versatility. Nutritionally, sorghum syrup beats refined sugar by miles. It's loaded with minerals like iron, potassium, and magnesium, giving it real value beyond sweetness. And because sorghum cane grows well even in poor soil and drought conditions, it's one of the most sustainable sweeteners on Earth. For preppers, sorghum syrup is the ultimate sugar alternative. Non-perishable, nutrient-dense, and comforting when the world feels uncertain. A single jar can replace honey, sugar, or maple syrup in nearly any recipe. It's sweetness you can rely on when everything else runs out. Sorghum isn't just a food, it's a symbol of resilience. Thick, golden, and everlasting, it's the kind of ingredient that reminds us survival doesn't have to mean sacrifice. Sometimes, it can still taste like home. 11. Sun-dried sweet corn, the forgotten gold of Amish pantries. If there's one food that perfectly captures the Amish spirit of self-reliance, it's sun-dried sweet corn. It's humble, lightweight, and quietly powerful, a true relic of old-world preservation. The Amish take fresh sweet corn, slice the kernels off the cob, and slowly dry them in the sun or a low oven until each piece is rock-hard and golden. The result? Corn that can sit on a pantry shelf for a decade or more without losing its sweetness or nutrition. When rehydrated, it comes back to life, plump, tender, and bursting with that summer corn flavor you thought you could only get fresh off the stalk. Just soak it overnight and simmer it the next day. The Amish use it in soups, stews, succotash, or grind it into meal for cornbread. For preppers, it's the kind of carb source that doesn't taste like cardboard. It's filling, full of fiber, and can be stored in simple cloth bags or glass jars. No electricity, no preservatives. When your grocery store shelves are empty and your freezer's useless, a scoop of dried corn could be the comfort you didn't know you needed. The best part? You can make it yourself for almost nothing. All it takes is a few cobs, sunlight, and patience. Because sometimes, the simplest foods are the ones that carry you through the hardest times. 12. Amish buttermilk powder, the hidden baking powerhouse. Most people don't even know real buttermilk powder exists, but in the Amish world, it's a pantry essential. Unlike commercial milk powders that taste flat and go rancid, Amish buttermilk powder is made from real cultured buttermilk, the tangy liquid left after churning butter. Instead of wasting it, they dry it into a fine, creamy powder that lasts for up to 2 years in a cool, dry cupboard. This isn't just for pancakes. When reconstituted with water, it becomes real, probiotic-rich buttermilk, perfect for biscuits, cornbread, or mashed potatoes. It adds a depth of flavor that transforms plain flour and water into comfort food that tastes like a hug from grandma. And here's the kicker. It's practically immune to spoilage because it's naturally low in fat. Preppers love it because it's shelf-stable, lightweight, and nutrient-rich. It reacts beautifully with baking soda, producing fluffy, tender results even when you're cooking over a campfire instead of a modern oven. Plus, its probiotics support gut health, something most survival foods completely overlook. In hard times, a jar of Amish buttermilk powder is pure gold. It brings comfort, flavor, and a sense of normalcy, turning the most basic ingredients into a warm meal that tastes like home. 13. Pickled eggs, the off-grid protein that never quits. If you think eggs are fragile and short-lived, the Amish will prove you wrong. Enter pickled eggs, the ultimate shelf-stable protein-packed food that laughs in the face of power outages. Hard-boiled eggs are peeled and submerged in a vinegar brine flavored with salt, sugar, and spices like dill, garlic, mustard seed, or even beet juice for a rosy hue. The result is tangy, flavorful, and incredibly long-lasting. Stored in glass jars in a cool cellar, they can keep for up to 4 months, sometimes longer. The vinegar acts as a preservative, keeping bacteria away while infusing every bite with bold flavor. The Amish often pickle eggs in large batches when their hens are laying more than they can eat, turning surplus into shelf-stable protein. For preppers, this is genius. No refrigeration needed. No can opener required. Just open a jar and eat. You can slice them into salads, mash them into sandwiches, or eat them straight for a hit of clean, satisfying protein. They're infinitely better than canned meat or processed bars that taste like cardboard. When times are tough, opening a jar of bright, tangy eggs feels like a small celebration, a reminder that even simple foods can be delicious. Forget protein powders. The Amish figured out real food preservation centuries ago, and pickled eggs are proof it works. 14. Amish hardtack crackers, the bread that never dies. While most people panic when the bread runs out, the Amish just reach for their hardtack-style crackers, a survival classic that can last for years. Made with just flour, water, and salt, these crackers are rolled thin and baked until bone dry. No oil, no preservatives, no moisture, and that's exactly why they last forever. Stored in tins or cloth bags, they stay crisp and edible for years, ready to be revived with a little creativity. These aren't your store-bought buttery crackers. They're dense, hearty, and designed to keep you alive and satisfied when food is scarce. The Amish don't treat them like snacks. They treat them like survival bread. Dunk them in soup, crumble them into stews, or spread them with lard, butter, or honey for a quick filling meal. In survival terms, they're genius, lightweight, compact, and calorie-dense. You can make a whole batch for pennies, and they don't require refrigeration or fancy storage. When modern crackers turn stale and useless, these will still be crisp, dependable, and comforting. A tin of hardtack might not look impressive, but in hard times, it's the foundation of countless meals. It's the kind of food that built civilizations, and it's still holding its own in Amish kitchens today. 15. Home-canned pumpkin, the taste of autumn that lasts for years. If there's one food that sums up Amish comfort, it's home-canned pumpkin. Every fall, the Amish harvest sugar pumpkins and winter squash, roast or steam them until soft, then puree and pressure can the rich orange flesh. No sugar, no chemicals, just pure pumpkin sealed tight in glass jars that can last for up to 5 years. It's not just for pie. The Amish use it in breads, soups, pancakes, casseroles, and even sauces. It adds color, creaminess, and nutrition, a true multitasker when fresh produce is long gone. Each jar is packed with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants that help keep you healthy when diets start getting monotonous during hard times. For preppers, canned pumpkin is more than comfort food. It's survival nutrition. It stores safely, stretches other ingredients, and boosts morale like few other foods can. Add it to oatmeal for breakfast, mix it with broth for soup, or bake it into hearty loaves that taste like home. When you're months into an emergency and everything feels gray, the taste of sweet, earthy pumpkin can feel like sunlight in a jar. That's why the Amish don't just can it for survival, they can it for the soul. 16. Sun-kissed dried apples, nature's candy that never spoils. Few things capture the taste of a good harvest quite like Amish dried apples. Every fall, when the orchards are heavy with fruit, Amish families gather to peel, core, and slice apples into thin rounds. Then, they're laid out under the autumn sun, near a wood stove, or inside a simple dehydrator until they turn into chewy golden slices of pure sweetness. No sugar. No preservatives. Just apple, concentrated, fragrant, and bursting with natural flavor. These dried apples can last 2 years or more in sealed glass jars or cloth bags, sometimes with a bay leaf tucked in to keep pests away. The result is a snack that's as shelf-stable as it is delicious. When rehydrated, they come back to life beautifully, perfect for pies, porridge, or slow-cooked stews. But even dry, they're a perfect grab-and-go energy booster packed with fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. For preppers, they're more than food. They're morale in a jar. When fresh produce disappears from store shelves, that familiar crisp sweetness of dried apple slices can feel like a piece of comfort from home. Unlike the sugary, oily versions in stores, Amish-style dried apples are clean, simple, and real. You can make them from backyard trees or local farm stands for almost nothing, yet they store like treasure. And let's be honest, when times get hard, flavor matters. The sweet, rustic taste of a dried apple can bring back memories of autumn fairs and warm kitchens, even in the coldest months. That's why the Amish keep barrels of them. They're not just prepping for survival, they're preserving joy. 17. Shoofly Pie Mix. Sweet survival. The Amish way. Yes, even dessert can be prepped, and no one does it better than the Amish. Shoofly pie is their signature treat, born from frugality and ingenuity, and their dry mix version is nothing short of brilliant. Forget boxed cake mixes full of chemicals. This is the real deal, homemade, shelf-stable, and ready when you need a taste of comfort. The Amish make a dry shoofly pie mix by combining flour, brown sugar, spices like cinnamon and nutmeg, and dehydrated molasses crumbles or molasses powder. Everything goes into a sealed jar or tin, where it can sit for a year or two without losing its rich caramel aroma. When it's time to bake, just add hot water or a bit of milk, pour it into a crust, or even a skillet, and bake until the top forms that irresistible, crumbly, gooey texture that shoofly pie is famous for. For preppers, this mix is genius. It's dessert insurance. It doesn't need eggs, butter, or refrigeration. Just a few pantry basics, and you've got a pie that feels like a hug from simpler times. The taste? Deep molasses sweetness with a warm, spiced edge, pure comfort. When times get tough, food becomes more than fuel. It becomes morale. A jar of shoofly pie mix can turn a bleak evening into a moment of celebration. It reminds you that life's little pleasures still matter. For the Amish, a sweet slice of pie isn't luxury. It's gratitude baked right into the crust. 18. Canned tomatoes, the red gold of Amish kitchens. There's a reason every Amish basement glows with rows of red jars. Canned tomatoes are the foundation of their food security. Each summer, when tomato vines are heavy with ripe fruit, Amish families gather to peel, crush, and simmer them before sealing the goodness into glass jars. Sometimes they leave them whole, sometimes crushed, sometimes pureed into sauce, but it's always pure tomato, preserved at peak flavor. Properly canned, they last 3 to 5 years with 0 preservatives. No BPA-lined tins. No additives. Just sunlight, soil, and salt captured in a jar. When winter hits and fresh produce is a memory, that single jar becomes a lifeline, the base for soups, stews, chili, or pasta sauce. Add a sprig of basil or a little garlic, and you've got instant homemade flavor that store-bought cans can't touch. For preppers, this is a powerhouse food. It's rich in vitamin C, lycopene, and flavor, all from a crop that's easy to grow, cheap to preserve, and endlessly versatile. A pot of beans becomes a feast with just one jar. A simple stew feels like comfort food again. And here's the beauty. It's not just about storage, it's about pride. A pantry lined with red jars is a visual reminder that you're prepared, capable, and connected to the old rhythms of life. The Amish don't see canned tomatoes as luxury, they see them as the heart of self-sufficiency. And once you taste homemade versus store-bought, you'll understand why. 19. Amish popcorn kernels, the crunch that keeps forever. Popcorn might sound like a snack, but for the Amish, it's a reliable long-term food source. and a surprisingly powerful morale booster. Amish-grown popcorn kernels are simple, non-hybrid, and naturally long-lasting. Stored in glass jars or mylar bags, they can stay good for 10 years or more without losing their pop. Unlike store-bought popcorn that often goes stale or greasy, Amish popcorn is pure and unprocessed. All you need is a pot, a little oil or lard, and a bit of heat. No microwave, no modern gadgets. In minutes, you've got a warm, crunchy, high-fiber snack that's also a legitimate survival food. But popcorn's value goes beyond snacking. You can grind it into cornmeal, make porridge, or even use it in baking when flour is scarce. It's rich in carbs, naturally gluten-free, and cheap enough to buy in bulk without breaking the bank. And here's the secret reason preppers love it: morale. In the middle of tough times, hearing that familiar pop-a-pop-a-pop in a pan can make life feel normal again, especially for kids. It's comfort disguised as a staple, a reminder that even in hard days, simple pleasures still exist. When your shelves are lined with jars of Amish popcorn, you're not just ready to survive, you're ready to smile through it. 20. Homemade vanilla extract, the flavor that lasts forever. In the Amish kitchen, even something as simple as vanilla is made from scratch, and it's a prepper's secret luxury. Real homemade vanilla extract is nothing more than vanilla beans steeped in alcohol, usually vodka or grain spirits. That's it. No sugar, no chemicals, just pure, aromatic flavor that actually gets better with time. Once sealed and stored in a cool, dark place, it lasts indefinitely. Yes, forever. The alcohol preserves it completely, and the flavor deepens the longer it sits. The Amish keep it not just for baking, but to add warmth and depth to simple foods. A few drops in oatmeal, pudding, or